Okay. All right. And Kathleen, thank you for being here today to tell us about your amazing testimony. You guys are definitely a blessing. And Hank and Kathleen, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Mary Margaret. We indeed are blessed to be here. Every day we thank the Lord for being here. So my downward health journey started in 1990. We were playing indoor soccer, and we took a break, and I actually fell over dead. So my heart had stopped for over 9 minutes, and it was just after my 40th birthday. So the paramedics hit me with the paddles 4 times, and they said if you did more than that, they would cause serious brain damage if they brought me back. And they were talking to Kathleen at that time, so she's told me that. So they hit me with the paddles the 5th time, and I did come back. So, however, for the next 23 and a half years, I had times where I had pretty serious brain fog. I was only able to do things probably a couple times a week. Most of the time I was spending time watching reruns and just sleeping. So it wasn't very fulfilling life. So back in at that time, let's see, the damage to my heart was, they showed me a scan, and the lower third of my heart was showing shadow, which meant that the lower third of my heart was damaged. So I had a 4-way bypass in 1999, and everything looked pretty good after that. In 2013, our doctor at the time in Albuquerque, New Mexico, found a product through a doctor friend of his that he said we should try. Kathleen had actually gone through a serious auto accident, and he actually recommended it for her, but it started to help her so well that I started taking it shortly afterwards. And in about 6 weeks, I had increased the amount I take from 4 ounces a day to 8 ounces a day. And after 4 days of bringing it up to 8 ounces, I noticed significant increase in thinking ability. All of a sudden, it was like somebody turned a switch on, and it was amazing. Kathleen was actually in California at the time, and I called her and I said, the fog is lifted. And she actually said, who is this? She said I sounded so much different and sharper that she didn't even realize it was me. She wasn't looking at the phone number. She just wondered who Nick was calling her. And so anyway, that was kind of humorous. So anyway, that was great. So it lifted the brain fog, and I was feeling pretty good. I was having more energy. Back 2.5 years ago, in the middle of the night, I wound up losing all the feeling in my right leg, and I wasn't able. I was across the apartment, and so I barely made it into the bedroom where Kathleen was, and she said I was making no sense at all, and I basically fell onto the bed where she was. And again, I think that was a divine thing, because I don't think I made it in there by myself. So. In fact, I don't remember going about the last 20 feet. So anyway, the Lord dropped me on the bed, and Kathleen said that she was told to spray me in the face, and that actually woke me up somewhat, and then actually enough so I could actually take the little cups, the little plastic cups that Sia gives us. I was able to drink 3 of these in about 5 minutes. And after that, I actually woke up. I was actually standing up when the paramedics arrived. I was actually able to talk to them and make sense, and I was actually able to get myself up under the gurney. So they said, well, let's take you into the hospital. And I said, good, yeah, I don't know what this is. We better go find out. So anyway, so they ran a whole bunch of tests, and one of the tests was the same kind of the heart pictures, you know, the echocardiogram, that they take pictures of the shadows of the hearts. And back, you know, when I had the heart attack in 1990, lower third of my heart was shadowed. So when they took the picture on 2.5 years ago, the day I had the stroke,
that was February 2nd.
February 2nd of 2016, it was only 10% damage. And we went, really? He said, the last picture we saw of this, it was a third. And now it's down to 10%. And they said, wow, well, they didn't know, but we did. So, and then a year later, they took a follow-up, and there was no damage. And we went, wow.
How about your carotid?
Yeah, the carotid, all the carotids and the back retrieval, the back arteries were clear. And they were wondering, what the heck had gone on. Well, there was a small piece of plaque that went down inside and blocked one of the blood vessels, and it caused a stroke. So anyway, thank God for bringing me back. And with the ASEA was the only real difference of anything that we were taking in that period of time that would have, without making a claim, that would have allowed my heart to heal. So and it actually has allowed me to progress. I've got most of my faculties back. Go ahead.
If it's okay, I was, I don't know how to say it, but I spiritually was led to give Hank to spray the ASEA on his face, in his eyes, and in his mouth when he was having that mini stroke. And that snapped him out of it. And then I made sure he didn't choke while he was drinking the 6 ounces. I was given those spiritual-led instructions. And Dr. Samuelson, we spoke to him I think about 2 or 3 months after the stroke in 2016. He said, I saved his brain by spraying the ASEA in his mouth, his eyes, on his face to snap him out of it. He says within the first 10 minutes, I saved his brain. He said anyone having that issue should have that done. He says the chances, because the stroke he had, how do you say it, ischemic?
Ischemic.
Ischemic type of stroke was so deep, he should have cognitively been severely compromised. And he wasn't. And Dr. Samuelson said it was because I obeyed those commands, that still small voice inside to spray and have him drink the ASEA.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, that just speaks about that cellular communication that goes on. And so because you sprayed his face, sprayed his mouth, sprayed his eyes,
His neck.
It was able to just...
That's how quick it responds, isn't it? That's how quick it responds. It gets into the membrane, the tissue, that quickly. And even before then, it's the miracle of his carotids being so clear. He was on a lot of cholesterol medication, but he couldn't take it because he was allergic to it. So the only difference, what cleared everything up, was the redox signaling molecules, the ASEA product. And so it's because of my accident and what I needed, he benefited as well, and it turned his health around. His functionality before the drinking the liquid, the ASEA liquid, was not a good. He was a very productive man before his sudden death heart attack at age 40, and he never really came back from that. And he likes to think that he presented well, but our kids say, nah, you did your best. But so it was a challenge, and this is so significant. I never thought I would have him back again. I never thought he would be able to have that cognitive back, and then to have that stroke. This is a gift. It's such a blessing. I don't know what else to say. It's a divine. It was an answer to a prayer to both of us, and and when he had the stroke, we were thinking, my goodness, he's been drinking the ASEA, and we've been drinking a lot of it. Why would this happen? And again, the fact that they wanted to make sure his heart was healthy to be able to take whatever treatment they may have to go in, like say a surgery, if there was a bleed or whatever. But the results were his heart showed no damage from a sudden death heart attack at age 40. So, it is amazing. And it really did give us the answer why the stroke. I think we needed to know his heart and his carotid and the 2 arteries in the back were clear. And the doctors were very disappointed that they couldn't just make a simple fix because there was no problem. That's where it hit. So we just said, get over it and let's just get down to, the main, let's just do the, keep searching and searching. So he did go through quite a trial with his body when he had another serious stroke while I was there, but his recovery, it's amazing. He still is progressing 2.5 years later. And we do have videos on our Facebook page if you want to share any of those.
Okay, wonderful. I definitely agree with you. To me, ASEA is an answer to prayer, and it is truly a gift to so many. And I mean, I have no idea where I would be today if I had not found ASEA, or if ASEA hadn't found me.
Yeah.
And truly a blessing every day. And to hear, Hank's story, it's nothing short of a miracle. And I am just so thankful for your willingness to try ASEA, but also so thankful for your faith in God, and just trusting Him in this process, because that is huge, because He can lead and direct us in ways that we can't figure out on our own. So,
over 23 years, we looked for all the different possibilities for Hank to try. He was pretty much deemed disabled at age 40. So during those 23.5 years, we tried traditional treatments and traditional solutions. And they were not only, they didn't help, but they were dangerous. And we have a good family friend that's a pharmacist, and he says, you need to get off some of this. It's going to kill you. You're going to have a stroke. And so Western medicine wasn't helpful. And for myself, we tried everything. And so we had nothing else left to try. We used up all the options. And this was such a new technology 5 years ago. Over 5 years ago is when we started. And it crosses that blood-brain barrier, and it worked on his brain injury plus on mine. We have two different types of brain injuries, and I never thought I'd get my brain back. So we had everything to gain and nothing to lose. We were open and willing, and we knew God had a purpose for us still, because we both should not be alive, breathing, feeding ourselves, talking. So, but,
wow.
Here, all three of us are.
Here we are. I mean, you too. I mean, your experience is phenomenal. And don't you pinch yourself sometimes?
Yes, very often. When I wake up every morning, I'm just grateful, to be able to have this product in my hand, to be able to supplement my body every day, because I know there's a huge difference in my body whenever I put it in there, and I don't ever want to be without it.
We
I
even
know the last.
without it, and it's not pretty. You don't you don't want to, it. So yeah, no, it's. I bet you feel like you're getting. Here I am, 68 today, and I feel wonderful. I feel better. I have to remember that I'm not in my 20s and 30s. I'm not back to doing what I was doing then, but at my age and what I've gone through and what he's gone through, we're just so much better off. We look so much younger, and he's driving again. And it's,
I can play basketball with 4-year-olds.
he has his own one-on-one tournament going. So
one-on-none.
Yeah, one-on-none. Yeah, he plays against his shadow. So, the mental clarity. I think I was going to ask you that. That's what I was trying to remember. The mental clarity I found was truly amazing. My balance and his balance. How about you? Was your mental clarity?
Yeah. Yeah, because with my autoimmune condition, I started out at 2 and 2, and I went up to 4 and 4, and then I started stretching it out throughout the day, and I went up to 16 ounces for like 3 months. And I mean, there was a lot of differences other than my symptoms that I got benefit with, and one of those was mental clarity. And so after I've been on that 16 ounces for 3 months, I decided, I'm going to titrate down because I may not need that much now. Right. And so I went to 12 and I felt fine. And then I went down to 8 and I felt fine. And I went down to 4 and it's like, I don't feel that great, doing 4 ounces a day. And so I went back up to 8, and that is my minimum. A lot of days I take 12, depending on what's going on, I may take 16, but I never take less than 8 because I feel like, when you check your car for oil and you put that stick in and you know how much is missing. And I feel like we can feel, what our sweet spot is. And mine is definitely minimum of 8 ounces. And so that's what I do. But I know the last time we talked, you were telling me that you guys had kind of changed your regimen to where you were taking it throughout the day. So what are you doing now as far as dosing ASEA?
I take 2 ounces every 2 hours, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning and ending at 9 o'clock at night. So I take.
Oh, wow.
I'm still taking 16. It's.
But you were taking
I was
in
taking,
the high 20s.
I was taking 24 ounces right after the stroke. So.
And using Renew a lot.
Yeah.
We probably go through 2 cases of Renew a month between the two of us.
Wow.
And
so we're good product users.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
we keep our upline qualified. Yeah. And we know how to do it so that we can benefit the rest of the people on our team. But I think for myself, I do 2 ounces. I'm around 12 to 14 ounces a day. He's 16, sometimes 18. Depends on.
Sorry about that. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, we had to get up very early this morning to take our daughter to the airport. So, and we were up late last night. So, but I do the same, and we found that every 2 hours has really benefited us, especially with the amount. Because I did the 16 ounces for a long time, and then when Hank was in the hospital there and recovering, I needed extra because I was burning the midnight oil, so
as a
caretaker. And I think for a caretaker, we often forget ourselves. And so I bumped it up, and I was on such little sleep and back and forth, and just the mental clarity then was amazing. And so you can play with it. During times of extra necessary output, I think when you ride your bike, you probably notice, you have to take a little extra.
Yeah, I always take extra before and after. And, with the Renew, I always rub the Renew on my thighs before I ever, get just to help with that recovery afterwards.
Did you qualify for the Tour de France this year?
Pardon?
You qualified for the Tour de France this year?
No, just missed it by a year.
That's it.
Okay.
You should have just drunk the Renew. Hank did use a lot of the Renew when he was in the hospital just after the stroke that almost did him in. I could only drip. He couldn't swallow so very well. And so I would just drip the SIA in his mouth. But I really loaded his body up on the gel. His whole body, his soles of his feet, the legs, everything. Go ahead.
I actually had my first video. I said I was going to cut off my hair, have my hair cut off, and I actually put more of it on my head because I had taken all the hair off. I wanted it to absorb whatever it could.
And around the carotid, and he'd been putting the Renew on there ever since that came out. So we had heard someone say before, I think you probably heard it as well, that put it around the neck, behind your ears, and all over to get into the brain and help. Did you happen to use the serum, the extra?
Yeah, actually, the nerve pain in my right arm was really intense, and the Renew 28 wasn't cutting it. So for some reason, we hadn't thought of using the serum. But one day I thought, well, why don't I just try that? So I went into my therapy session and I put it on, and I was able to raise my arm about twice as far as I ever had before. And I went, oh, this is great. And so I was able to start doing more exercises.
That's amazing because that's 4 times the concentrate of a SIA.
It only took a little amount. It wasn't like I was using a whole lot. It just was a small amount right at the top of the shoulder, and it took the nerve pain away, and I went, yay.
They were just thinking he wasn't going to be able to do much with his arms. So it's interesting how they give up so quickly.
Yeah, and they suggested some toxic solutions through the traditional means, and we went, no. Wasn't going to do that. So.
We understand that our bodies have an innate ability to heal itself because that's the way God created our bodies to work. And when you've got something like a SIA and Renew 28 that complements the body, we understand that that's the best application we can use because it doesn't insult our body at all. It only complements. And so it's just
crossing the blood-brain barrier. And that brains around quickly. So I lived 6.5 years with brain trauma from auto accident, and it was within 3 days I slept an hour extra. I was only sleeping 2 hours a night. Just chronic 10 plus pain and 300 pills, and I was even trying to hold back. I was just trying to figure, I was just in such a bad state. And so just when the gel came out, my face, I have to update our story on Healthy Self. In fact, I haven't really put our story on Healthy Self because it's been it's really hard. It's really hard to talk about it. And I feel comfortable talking with you, and we don't mind you sharing our story. But it's pretty traumatic to be told that your husband at age 40, this is the best he's going to get. We had 2 young children, and then, his, the bypasses, and then the stroke, and then in between, I had this accident. It was a miracle that I survived it. And I had nothing broken except I almost had my spinal cord severed. And it was really by the grace of God. And he has a reason for us to still be alive. And, you know, it hasn't been easy, but it's been worth the journey. It's been a struggle. So maybe after today's recording here, I feel like maybe I can put up a short story about myself, because we don't talk about ourselves. That I don't like to put it. We're kind of quiet people, and we try to stay humble, and so it's hard for us to talk about it. But I know we just want to help people, because so many people give up. We've been married 47 years, and it's been one thing after another, but just know God has a reason for us, and we're just trying to make sure we're staying on that straight and narrow path. But
yeah, I believe he uses these experiences in our life to make us stronger.
Yeah. So
it hasn't killed us yet, so we must be stronger.
And I think just with the redox technology, like you said, how God created us, we heal much quicker if we use the right amount.
Yes.
We just don't play around with it. It's wasting the gift that God has given us if we don't use it right.
Exactly. And I believe that the only reason there are people out there that don't get it is, number one, they're not taking it right. Number two, they're not taking enough for whatever's coming against their body,
right?
Or they don't take it long enough. I believe if people would, take it right and take enough and take it long enough, everybody that tries to see it and is serious about it would find benefit with the SIA, because we know 100% of the time it works on 100% of the people,
absolutely,
whether they notice it or not. So
even animals and plants that we forget to water, or they all have cells. The body wants to be healthy, and so we just need to give it the right fuel. We do our best to eat healthy. And now we're able to go back and exercise, so we're benefiting in all the ways we can. So it's a choice we make, and we want to live it as best we can. And we still feel we're young, don't we?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So everyone should try it, and it will benefit them. And I
agree with everything you just said.
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you both for agreeing to be on here to share your stories so that other people can know the benefits that you had and see the hope for themselves of what could happen for them. So I just appreciate you being willing to talk about the times in your life and how things have changed for you for the better. So thank you so much for doing that today.
Thank you. Thank you too.
Thanks for thinking we can be helping.
Oh, definitely.
We appreciate your friendship, and we think of you often and what you've overcome.
Yeah.
I think of the both of you very often. So
thank you. Hopefully we'll see each other soon.
Okay.
Yeah, hope to see you at convention.
Yep.
Love you both.
Like Hank says before we go, what is it you like to tell people if you don't use it?
Oh, if you don't use it, it doesn't work?
Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't work if you don't use it.
Yeah, kind of like a treadmill. Doesn't work if you don't use it.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Oh. I'm not getting any healthier. I bought this thing 2 months ago. I have to walk on it? Yeah. Okay. Good point. I
agree.
Okay. All right. Well, blessings to everybody. Okay. Thank you so much.
I hope this helps who you want to watch.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Okay.
You're welcome. Blessings.